this is something that I wanted to talk about, and I had an interesting thought today. And it's about the Georgia lawsuits, the Georgia case over Trump and his actions in trying to steal the Georgia electoral votes. Right? So we all know that Trump is trying to push back the federal cases till after mid-November next year, so that if he wins the presidency, then he can either rename a new AG and as such then have the case dropped, or when he gets sworn in, he could just pardon himself and there you go, and then it's all done and over with, assuming he can pardon himself, which people say that he can do. I don't know if he can. I don't know if there's anything preventing him from doing it. I'm sure this activist conservative Supreme Court would rule that he can. I have no reason to believe that this activist conservative Supreme Court would say that he can't. So I'm just going to just assume that the Supreme Court would say that he can if he were to try to do so. But in state court, he can't. And first of all, I'm wondering, would there be a constitutional crisis if Donald Trump was elected president while in state prison? What would happen? What would happen if Donald Trump was convicted in Georgia, in a Georgia court, and sent to a Georgia prison and had to serve a sentence and then was elected president? Would he then have to be released for the tenure of his presidency? I mean, how would you do that? How could you justify that? You know, there's a separation of state powers and federal powers. How would you then allow that to happen? Would the Supreme Court rule that he would have to be released temporarily so he could serve as president? Would you then have a prisoner president? That would seem to be very odd. But the other question I had about this whole thing is this. Why have we not seen or heard from Kemp at all? Why hasn't Kemp come out and pardoned Donald Trump? You would think that if he wanted to remain relevant in Republican politics, and if being relevant in Republican politics meant supporting Donald Trump, that he would just basically say, hey, I pardon you from whatever crimes that you're being accused of, whether or not you did them or not. I mean, he could do that, I'm assuming. Or why didn't Donald Trump come out and ask Kemp to say, hey, you should pardon me for what they're accusing me of? Because he'll say, even though I didn't do it, you should still pardon me because these are phony charges. So just pardon me for the phony charges because I didn't do it. So just pardon me so we can get this all over with. You know, again, you would think that would be out there, that he would be out there asking that to happen. Now, if Donald Trump were smart, and we already covered on this show that Donald Trump is not smart. If Donald Trump was smart, he would not have doubled down on the whole grab him by the hoo-ha thing in the deposition. When asked in the deposition for the E. Jean Carroll case about the second time when he was asked about the whole grab him by the hoo-ha comment, if he was smart, he would have said, oh, that was just locker room talk. I don't do that. I was just kidding. But instead, he was dumb and doubled down on the whole, yeah, rich people just do that. They just grab women by the hoo-ha and don't even ask, and they can just do that because that's what rich people do. Thus proving that he feels it's okay to just walk up to people and grab them without their consent. If Donald Trump was smart, when handed a picture of a woman and to say, who is this person? He would have said, I don't know who this person is. It doesn't ring a bell. But no, he said, that's Marla. That's my second wife. And no, that was E. Jean Carroll. So the person who he was saying was not attractive and not his type. He now is on record saying that the person who was not his type now looks like his second wife, who he clearly was attracted to. So again, we all know that Donald Trump is not smart. If Donald Trump is smart, Donald Trump would say, okay, well, he would be behind the scenes being like, you know what? If I get convicted of these charges in Georgia, Governor Kemp, you have the ability to pardon me. So if I'm convicted, pardon me, and therefore it'll just go away. But he's not smart. Donald Trump likes to talk. Donald Trump likes to shout his opinions all day long on Truth Social. Donald Trump likes to lambaste the politicians who don't do his bidding. So I'm very surprised that we haven't seen any truthed out on Truth Social yet about why Governor Kemp hasn't went ahead and pardoned him for his phony crimes that he's being charged with on the perfect phone call that he made to Secretary of State Roethlisberger or whatever his name is, to asking for the votes that he just needed to get to win the Georgia's electoral college votes. Like, I'm surprised we have not seen that yet. I'm frankly surprised that Kemp just hasn't gone ahead and done it. Because, again, Donald Trump is not a smart person. And it would be very much like him to come out and be saying, I should be pardoned in Georgia for the crimes I'm being accused of, so therefore I don't have to deal with this lawsuit. So, if it hasn't happened, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens soon. And if it happens soon, remember where you heard the idea first. Here on Liberal Dan Radio, talk for the left. That's right.